You, once again, I think every year since I've known you have been the favorite going into a season. How do you tell your players so it never becomes old hat and they appreciate what it really means?
Well, I don't know that it really means much, Karen. I don't think preseason means much. It's that it puts kind of a little bit of pressure on you to either perform at that level, or if you're not happy with where you're picked, to outperform what other people think. But certainly with our guys, people have talked about winning, 13 in a row. Which would be awesome, but it's not 13, it's 1 to this team, and they need to focus in like that this is the first time that they've had a chance to compete together, and to, in order to be successful, learn from past teams on what it takes to win in this league, and we got enough veteran guys. I think they'll pass that on to the young kids.
Coach, we had a chance.
This team, how do you like the mix that you have of the young and the old?
I really like it. I love having Landon and Devontae and Frank back. And I like having Carlton and LeGerald and Svi that haven't done it yet, but they're more than capable of doing it. And then you throw in talented freshmen that could certainly have an impact on our sport, not only in our league but nationally. I think it's a good blend. I think those are the best teams. Your foundation are your upperclassmen, but your most talented guys, prospects, are a lot of times your youngest kids, and I think we have that this year.
Coach, we got a chance to talk with the players about last year's Elite Eight game that they lost to Villanova, and they said there's kind of that chip on their shoulder this year for those that were here. Do you have to use that as motivation, or they just kind of motivate themselves to have that fire to get closer to?
We may use that as motivation, once we get into the tournament, if we get, if we get in. I mean, don't want to take anything for granted, but I won't use that as motivation now. Our guys last year, if you use that as motivation, you make it seem like last year was a failure, which is what we were 33-5, and we won the league, won the tournament. So it was a good year, without question, but it came up short. So I don't want to dwell on the negative. I mean, let's dwell on, hey, that was really good, but the reality of it is, when we get closer, how do we tweak what we did last year to maybe better prepare ourselves for this year? It could have been rest, it could have been scouting, it could have been distractions, it could have been a lot of things that don't really have a lot to do with basketball. And so, how do we improve on those things? And I think it's a little early to get into those type details right now.
Sure.
How does that look?
He looks big. He's really done well. He's really green, raw, and but he's down to about 270, 272, I think, and so he's lost about 30 pounds, and he's very explosive, and he's not really strong yet, although his body is the appearance of being ridiculously strong because he's so big. But I think he's going to be a great player, and fortunately for us, we're going to have him for a couple of years.
You mentioned that you hope by maybe that turn of Christmas or whatever that he'll be kind of more there.
Yeah.
What's the progression that you see for him? What's the next step?
I think the first step is understanding how hard you got to play, getting in shape. Second step would be learning what we're doing, because he's very conscientious, so he's gonna look slow if he's thinking all the time. And third step would probably be reacting instead of thinking, and the fourth step would probably be playing. And he's a guy that could become a really good player, but he's also a guy that could foul out in 5 minutes, and he's a guy that could labor at times, but because everything's just thrown at him so fast. But I mean, he's definitely has our guys' attention, without question. On the things that we stress, he could be really good at.
With Josh Jackson this year, obviously he's outstanding talent, blue chipper. Is there any fear that he might only be here for a short period of time, and maybe not like the guys you've gotten in the past, or the recent past, where they've been here 3 and 4 years?
Oh no, I'll announce to everybody, we anticipate Josh being here for 9 months. Okay, so but the good thing about Josh is he's unpacked his bags, whereas I think sometimes kids go to college, but still yet their sight is on the next thing. If his sight's on the next thing, he doesn't let anybody in Lawrence, Kansas know it, because he's unpacked his bags and he wants to be a college kid, and he wants to be a teammate and a friend and all those things that college kids go through. But I think that's the case. But make no mistake about it, we are not banking on him coming back for a sophomore campaign.
So you guys have the chance to tie UCLA's conference championship record this season with 13 straight. What kind of mental element does that bring to the game?
I think it may bring a little pressure, but I think it also brings a lot of pride and a lot of motivation. You know, there's some dog days in our league. You know, we went through it last year. I don't know if you guys remember, but after the OU game, I mean, we were bad names. We were bad in Stillwater. We went through a period of time where we weren't very good. I think a lot of it because it's the grind of a year, and I think when you have that carrot up there or out there and the motivation that you could do something pretty special if everybody stays focused and fights through it, I think that'll definitely help get through some tough times. Nobody else has any more
I
questions?
have a couple fun things that I want to wait till everybody's done.
Okay.
How's the chemistry with the senior leaders and
I think,
the new guys?
I don't know what they said, but I think the guys really like each other. I think Josh and Udoka and Mitch has fitting in really nicely from a teammate standpoint. But Frank and Devontae and Landon, they've taken a lot of ownership, not only leadership but ownership of everything that's going on. And Josh he's an alpha dog in that he adds to the leadership mix. So right now I think the chemistry is good, but it's easy to be good when you're undefeated and everybody's 0-0. Your chemistry's tested when things start going south, but right now everything looks good.
College basketball season starts now with these premier games and big matchup tournaments right off the bat. How much does that give you a sense of your team getting some chemistry on or off the floor and facing adversity?
I think that's good. I'll say it's good because that's how we do it. If we were doing it another way, I'd say it was best to do it that way that we were doing it. But certainly Indiana and Duke in the first week is probably about as tough a schedule. And they'd be hard games if you played them at home, let alone Honolulu and New York. So I think that'll be good for us. The great thing about basketball, or one of the great things about basketball, is you can actually use a game to educate you on where you are as a team and have it not totally crush you. We got hammered by Kentucky not too long ago in the second game of the season, and that team was a 2 seed. We've lost in the Champions Classic and went to the national championship game. I mean, but in football is so different because one loss can put you back. But I think it'll be great for our guys.
Coach, there's a lot of veteran players this year in this conference at the guard position. What kind of impact does that have going into the season, and does it change your style of play at all?
No, it won't change our style of play, but you're right. You stop and think about it. You got Jordan Woodard, senior. You got Monty Morris, a senior. You got Matt Thomas, Nas Long, seniors. You got Frank Williams, senior. You got Forte, senior. You can just go up and down. Now you also have some good young kids. Texas's kids, whether it be Roach Davis or whoever, that are also not seniors, but it is you could make a case that could be the strongest position in our league, in large part due to the experience.
How do you think that elevates the conference as a whole on the national level?
Well, I think last year, we had good seniors, and that's one reason why I think we had the overall best conference. You lose Buddy and George and Perry, and you think, how could your conference be as good? And you think the appearance would be to take a step backwards, but you've had some really good recruits come into our league, and then you got some sophomores and juniors last year that are ready to have the same roles that those kids had last year. So I think we have a good balance in our league.
Rotation-wise, with that 9-10 spot, whether it's Mitch and White or whatever, however that works out, how does that battle play out? I mean, how do you decide?
I don't know. Probably by matchups. Like if it could be a situation if the other team plays a pick and pop 4, who can get to him the best, or if the other team maybe if we're trying to grind it, throw it inside, which guy could be the best at that. So it probably just depends on matchup. They both done fine. They both done pretty good, but Dwight is still not 100%. He's structurally fine, but he's still dragging it a little bit. And Mitch is going to be really good, but Mitch is young and green and doesn't totally understand yet. So I think it'll probably be situations as much as anything else.
There won't be a thing where one guy wins the 9 and stays the 9.
It could be.
Okay.
It could be, but we haven't seen that yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, it's the second year in a row that you voted Iowa State to win the Big 12 in the preseason poll. Why is that? And what have you seen from them in the last couple of years?
Well, for you could pick West Virginia, you could pick Texas, you could pick other schools without question. But the reason I did it that way because they were the most known to me. Monty Morris is a known. Nas Long, even though he didn't play last year, is a known. Matt Thomas is a known. Burton to me is a known, even though he's just been there 1 year. Whereas you got just as much quality depth as anyone. But like us, Hugs lost. Hey, he lost a couple of good guys. Now, Page was good. Williams, he got 30 on us. I mean, he was good. So I think there's some unknowns. But I would say, going into it, me just looking at it visually, I think those are 4 really good players.
Josh, I'm sorry, Bill, is Josh one of your more mature guys at that level?
Yeah.
Not a freshman, but he's the number 1 guy.
Yeah, he's one of the more. Wiggs was mature too.
Right.
But Wiggs was different in that he didn't need the attention, but he also didn't want the attention. Josh, to me, doesn't need it, but he doesn't mind it. I mean, he doesn't mind you guys hounding him. And I think you guys that have interviewed him both would probably say the same thing. So I think from a maturity standpoint, I think he's coming in here about as mature and about as worldly as any kid that we've ever had.
What the background? What gets him ready for this?
I think his mom, his mother, Apples, did an unbelievable job preparing him for this. And granted, there's still some things that's going to happen with him that he hasn't seen yet. And he's going to feel some pressures that he's never experienced yet. But I do think his mother has done an unbelievable job preparing him for this moment. Something they've talked about a lot growing up.
Larry Keating said just something as simple as going down the hall and he initiates the handshake.
Yeah.
I'm Josh Jackson.
He's good at it. He's good at it, but it's not fake either. I mean, he actually has been. He is naturally enjoys company, enjoys people, but he's also very respectful of elders. He's very respectful of people that come in contact with him. He's well beyond his years for a college freshman, and even though he's had so many things written about it, he doesn't act spoiled. He acts like a guy that wants to prove, as opposed to a guy that thinks that he's already arrived.
Naturally, he's going to be tested coming in like that on practice.
Sure.
Guys just mentioned it.
Oh, yeah.
What's the worst case you've seen of that where a guy was just, they went at him and he either did or didn't respond when he came in?
Well, I think you can. I don't know that you respond every single time that somebody goes at you, but I will say this: if he doesn't respond, then it's in the minority. He is a competitive dude that likes when somebody else is good, because now he can test himself against the best. He enjoys that. I think in his mind, whether or not he plays better from a points production standpoint, but I think he'll do more to fight for his team if he feels like he's being challenged each and every day. He's the type of kid, I think, that could have somebody score 2 straight baskets on him, and his way of getting back at him is to make sure our team has a good possession on the other end, as opposed to going back and shooting the ball trying to get it back. Yeah. So I don't think a lot of kids get that, but I think he does. It still remains to be seen, but that's the impression we all get right now.
I know people like to joke about it with that father or grandfather role on each team, whether it was Brady or Travis, or now it's Landon. Is there a value to having that guy, though? And maybe is that different than just a senior? I mean,
it may be. I don't know. I don't know if fifth-year guys are different. But Landon, he's 6 years older. He's than Udoka. He's over 6 years older than, if I'm not mistaken, in like 6 years and 2 months or 3 months or something, than our freshmen. So I think there is some value having a big brother like that. But I'm not sure if the difference between 5 and 6 years makes a huge difference. But I do think it creates more ownership for Landon to be the elder statesman.
How have you seen Landon and Frank and some of the other guys on the team kind of helping out some of the younger guys on the team?
Well, Landon is the best assistant coach there is because he coaches Udoka every day. Like he walks, when Udoka does something, he'll literally walk on the floor and point and say, "No, Doak, this is where you need to do this. This is why we're doing this," and then remove himself right there. He's good at it. It's not something that we tell him to go do. And I think he's taken great pride in getting Doak ready. Probably about as good as anybody I've ever been around. I don't know if I've ever been around anybody that coaches young kids better than what he does.
The relationship between Landon and Udoka, does the coaching staff let Landon take over, or do you guys still?
I think a lot of times it's no. We'll coach Udoka, but I think a lot of times it's easier for players to teach players. Like when they're in the dorms or on practice, coaches may see it, but they may let it go. Landon may not let it go. A lot of times I could say, "Hey, Landon, show him what he did wrong," and he'll go do it. And Udoka is such a sponge; it wouldn't make any difference who's telling him. He would try to soak it in. So I think it's good. I could see him being a very good coach when he finishes playing.
Who do you think fills the Jamari role, the kind of doing all the little things?
That's a good question. I don't know that we have anybody inside that can do that, but I think Josh can do a lot of it. Josh could be, if you go small and play Josh at the so-called power forward or the biggest guard, whatever you want to call it, I could see him doing a lot of things that Jamari did as well. Well, you're right. Jamari did a lot of good things for us.
What are you most excited about this year's squad?
And you know what, going back to Jamari, he's the one guy when they talk about guys leaving gets left out of the mix because he didn't declare early like Wayne and Brandon and Sheck. But yeah, we're going to miss Jamari.
Did things that didn't show up in stats.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Bud. I'm sorry.
I was saying, what are you most excited about this year's squad?
What am I most excited about our squad?
Yeah.
I'd say speed. I think it's fun to coach fast guys, and I think we're going to be able to play faster than what we played in the past. I think we played pretty fast, but I think this year we could play at a quicker clip because of those good little guards.
Does a lot of that come down to trust for you? How fast can you play? Is how much you trust them?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to we want to play as fast as we can without compromising, taking care of the basketball and things like that. But for the most part, I think that we're a lot better, just like last year's team, where we were a lot better when we were in the open court than we were in the half court.
Getting those opportunities to play some big-time schools right off the bat, how big do you think that's going to be, especially for the younger guys on this team?
I hope it's going to be great. Certainly there's going to be a lot of things that will be thrown at us in the first week that will be great teaching tools, whether it be good or bad, moving forward. So I think it'll be good for our guys, and I think it'll be good for our guys to see how big and how bright the stage can be. Even though I think they think they know, but until they actually experience, I don't think they do know.
This team has such a high ceiling. Where do you think they're at in terms of reaching that ceiling right now?
Oh, we're not. No, we got a high ceiling, I think, but we're not even close. We're not even in the same vicinity as where we need to be.
I think he said somewhere Josh is the most complete player you've ever had.
I think coming in as a freshman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as an entering freshman, I don't know that we've had anybody that could rebound, pass, handle, shoot, defend, toughness, competitive, unselfish, can think 2 passes ahead. I think there's a lot of things when you add up all his all the ingredients. It makes him about as prepared as any freshman.
But not overall yet.
Of any kid, I don't know that he's the most. I mean, guys that are juniors and seniors. I mean, Sharon was a pretty, we talk about just a basketball player, there's not much he couldn't do. There were some things physically he couldn't do, but as far as playing the game, he did it about as well as anybody. And there's been others, but as far as coming in as an entering freshman, yeah, Josh is right. I mean, he's right at the top.
You a Cubs fan?
I like the Royals, but I have always liked the Cubs, but I'm not gonna be that fair weather fan that's jumping on the bandwagon, but I would like to see the Cubs win.
How many times did you do the 7th inning?
I think we sang it twice. I could be wrong, but I think we sang it twice. I know we took 4 guys up there, 3 guys up there one time. I know Wrigleyville, it's going to be a fairly festive atmosphere, I would think, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
How often do you think about just that going for that 13th straight?
Haven't really thought about it as much as what you probably think, but it's crossed my mind, I'm not going to lie, but we'll think about it more probably as we get into it. But I don't want to get hung up on that. I just want to get hung up on coaching this team and having this team be as good as it can be, and having this team, compete for its first, championship, as opposed to thinking that they have to do something. I don't want them to think like that. If that's the way they think, then they're going to play under pressure all year long. I want them to play with a freer mind than that.
You mentioned recently a team that got as close to its ceiling as any you've coached. Was that last year's, or was that the national runner-up?
No, well, both of them. Yeah. I thought the national runner-up team wasn't as good as last year's team, but found a way to win in the NCAA. I mean, we won a game in the NCAA tournament, Sweet 16, where he made 1 shot outside 3 feet, and just would do whatever to win. But last year's team,
that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's it. They maximize their abilities pretty well.
Did you ever meet Harry Carey?
No. How long's Harry been gone?
17 years.
Yeah, he was already he had already passed by the time we got to Champaign. I used to watch him every day on WGN. No, we all did back in the day.
How much have you talked to guys like Perry and Wayne since they've left?
Talked to Wayne yesterday. He's actually in town. Haven't talked to Perry. Since they left campus?
Yeah.
Talked to them all quite a bit. Yeah. But I thought you meant since the last cuts came. But talked to them all quite a bit. I assume that Wayne and Perry will probably go through the D League. Brandon probably go through the D League, and Shaq. Shaq's done pretty well. They're happy with Shaq. And so, but I'll be shocked if Perry and Wayne don't get a call up here pretty soon.
How does it make you feel to just see him be successful past the college level?
You can equate success to different things. If you're making the league, is that success? Or if you have a career, is that success? Or if you graduate, is that success? So I certainly want them all to do well in whatever they're doing. But since their focus is basketball and playing, I'd love to see them be successful and being able to continue to play and for a couple of them to actually have a chance to play in the league and stay in the league. And Wayne and Perry have had no breaks since their season's been over. Health, being able to work out, they have had no breaks. So hopefully getting them with the developmental team and them being able to get some confidence and start understanding the NBA game a little bit better. Hopefully they'll be in the league here real soon.
Did they share the feedback with you? Is that basically what it was? Just understanding different levels?
I don't think with Wayne it was.
Okay.
I think with Wayne it was more of a numbers crunch.
Right.
But with Perry, I think it was more of a health situation. Perry never had a chance.
Yeah.
He didn't do great at the combine, and then he gets hurt and doesn't get a chance to really do anything. So he's got a lot to prove to whoever he's playing for, but he's more capable of doing that when he's comfortable. Perry is not as good. If we were playing pickup today and he didn't know the other 9 guys, he would not play as good as if he knew the other 9 guys. And a lot of people aren't like that. A lot of people are just, I don't care. But Perry's one of those guys, so he'll be better in structure, and I'm sure the NBA team will see that too.